Imagine being a broke college student one year and just a few years later making $20,000 every single month online. No boss, no office, just freedom. Sounds crazy? Well, it's not a fairy tale. It's a real story we're about to dive into today. You'll hear exactly how one guy made the leap from struggling student to financial freedom before his 24th birthday. And more importantly, the mindsets, strategies, and step-by-step actions that got him there. Forget the hustle culture noise. This is about working smarter, not harder, and building real freedom. Let's get started.
All right, so picture this. You're just a regular college student, right?
Right.
And then within like 4 years, you're making $20,000 every single month online.
Wow.
It's a pretty crazy jump.
That is wild.
And that's exactly the kind of story we're going to be diving into today.
Yeah, what really stands out to me about this story is how much this guy just took action.
Yeah.
You know, he was like 19 years old in college, saw this video about, making passive income online. And he didn't just think, oh, that's interesting and move on. He actually did something about it.
Right.
And we have a really in-depth look at how he did it.
Yeah.
And a conversation he had with another online entrepreneur who's been doing it for a while. So what we're going to do is really try to find the core mindsets,
Right.
the actual strategies that move the needle, and the exact steps that he took.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get a shortcut to figuring out what it takes to actually build an online income.
So let's jump right into this thing.
Let's do it.
One of the biggest things that stuck out to me in the sources is how few people actually take action.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We're all guilty of this, right?
Totally.
You see something inspiring, you get excited.
Yep.
And then life just gets in the way.
Yeah, 100%.
And you never actually take that first step.
Happens every time.
The sources say that 99% of people who look into online income, they never even start.
Wow.
And then of the 1% who actually do start, another 99% quit before they get any kind of serious results.
Crazy.
So why do you think that initial resistance is so strong?
Well, I think that's where this idea of resistance really comes in.
Yeah.
Our brains are wired to avoid discomfort, right? They
Right.
want to keep us safe. And so we come up with all these reasons why something won't work for us.
Totally.
I don't have the skills. It's too late.
Yeah.
It's not going to work for
That's
me.
so competitive. Yeah.
Exactly. But this guy, he seemed to kind of skip past all that.
He really did. And the sources describe him as having this absurd level of self-belief. He truly believed that if other people could do it,
Yeah.
he could do it too.
I love that.
With enough effort
Right.
and enough time.
It's so important.
That was a core belief for him.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of the idea of an internal locus of control.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
It's basically do you believe that you control what happens in your life?
Right.
Or do you believe that it's all luck and outside forces?
Okay, so he believed that his actions would get him results.
Exactly. And that's
Cool.
a super powerful foundation to have.
Makes sense, especially in something like online business where the path isn't always clear.
So this guy, he watches this video about passive online income.
Okay.
And within a week, he creates a Skillshare class.
Wow, he didn't waste any time.
That's really fast for most people.
For sure. What do you think the takeaway is there?
I think he just had that bias toward action.
So many people get stuck in that analysis paralysis loop.
I know, it's so true.
They want everything to be perfect before they even start. But you know that overthinking can be a killer, especially when you're just beginning.
Yeah.
You learn so much more by actually doing something, putting it out there,
Alan
even
did.
if it's not perfect.
So his first Skillshare class, he makes $1,500 over 4 years.
Okay.
Which isn't exactly going to make you rich.
Right, it's not life-changing money,
But the point wasn't the money.
Exactly.
Right.
I see it more like that first project is your ticket to get in the game.
Okay, yeah.
It's about breaking through that initial fear,
Right.
getting something real out there,
Yeah.
and just gaining that experience.
Even if the money isn't huge at first.
Right, you get that first step mentality going.
Oh, okay.
You learn that your first try doesn't have to be a masterpiece.
Just got to get started.
Yeah, just get moving.
So he makes this Skillshare class, and he doesn't stop there.
Okay, what did he do next?
The next week, he starts a blog and an email newsletter.
Wow, he's on a roll.
And a few weeks after that, he launches a YouTube channel.
So he was trying a bunch of different stuff.
He was experimenting.
Yeah, I like that, testing different platforms, figuring out what he liked and what might work for an audience.
Yeah, he was posting about things like studying and computer science and productivity tools.
Interesting. And was his content any good?
Well, the sources say he had bad lighting and terrible audio.
Oh, no.
And he wasn't very confident on camera.
Oh, man, but he kept posting.
But he was consistent.
That's huge. What can we learn from that?
I think it shows how important consistency is.
Totally.
Especially in those early stages.
Yeah.
The first year or two.
You're putting in so much work and it feels like you're getting nothing back.
It's true. He only had like 100 subscribers after a year.
Oh, wow.
And that could be really discouraging.
It would be for me.
But he stuck with it.
Yeah, he knew it takes time to build an audience.
It really does. And it actually took him 16 to 18 months to get his first video to 100,000 views.
So 1.5 years of creating content before he got any real traction?
And that's something that a lot of people wouldn't be willing to do.
Yeah, it's hard to keep going when you don't see results.
So how did he stay so consistent?
Well, he had a pretty interesting system.
What was it?
He used this app called Beeminder.
Oh, okay.
And it would charge him $100 every time he missed a weekly video upload.
He was literally paying to stay on track.
He was, and it worked.
Wow.
He ended up paying over $1,000 in total.
That's commitment?
That's serious accountability.
Yeah, so it's easy to look at someone who's successful now and think it was all easy.
Right, like it all just fell into place.
But the sources talk about how he struggled a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And how he had to keep pushing through those challenges.
Everyone feels like giving up at some point.
They do. And there's this idea in the sources about how people feel like they're not cut out for it.
I've definitely felt that.
When things get hard.
Yeah, but what's the other side of that?
The other side is that those challenges are normal.
Okay.
Like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
True.
The fact that it's hard is what makes it valuable.
I like that.
There's even this story in the sources about him trying to find a singing teacher.
A singing teacher? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, it was just this simple thing that he was trying to do.
Okay.
But it took so many tries.
Like he kept getting rejected?
Yeah. Or people wouldn't respond.
Oh, so there was a lot of friction.
Yeah. And it just shows how much persistence is needed.
Even for something small.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after a few years of working hard but not seeing huge growth,
Yeah.
there's a big turning point for him in year 4.
Okay. What happened?
He realized that he needed to invest in learning.
Ah, so he was taking action, but he also needed to improve his knowledge.
Exactly. He started reading business books.
Makes sense.
And he got a coach.
Someone who had already done what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and the impact was huge.
Wow, so he wasn't just passively reading these books?
No, he was going all in.
Like he really wanted to learn.
His coach said he was their best client ever.
What did he do?
He never missed a call.
Wow.
Even bought Wi-Fi on planes so he could make the calls.
That's dedication.
He prepared tons of questions.
He was taking it seriously.
And most importantly, he immediately implemented what he learned.
So it's not just about learning, it's about doing.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And the coaching helped him refine his strategy.
How so?
Well, he was already making content about getting software engineering internships.
Okay.
And the coaching helped him focus on monetizing that expertise.
So he found a specific niche where he could add value.
Exactly. And that's when the money started rolling in.
Okay, give me the numbers.
He went from making like $5,000 or $6,000 a month to being profitable right away.
Wow.
And then he had months where he made $30,000.
That's incredible.
$55,000.
Life-changing money.
Yeah. And he was consistently making around $20,000 profit every month.
So in just a few years, he went from college student to making a really great living online.
Yeah, and that kind of income gives you so much freedom.
Freedom to do what you want.
Yeah, he didn't have to ask for time off anymore.
I love that.
And he could travel and work from anywhere.
Yeah, that's the dream.
So for someone listening who's feeling inspired, but maybe a bit overwhelmed,
Sure.
what are some practical steps they can take?
Well, the sources lay out some really great principles.
Okay.
The first one is to develop that internal locus of control.
Right.
Believing that you have the power to make things happen.
You're not just a victim of circumstance.
Exactly. The second thing is to have a bias toward action.
Just do it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Just start taking action.
Number 3 is consistency.
Keep showing up.
Even when you feel like no one's watching.
Yep, consistency is key.
Number 4 is to push through the challenges.
Those are going to come no matter what.
Yeah, and they're part of the process.
It's how you learn and grow.
Number 5 is to start now.
Don't wait for the perfect time.
It'll never come.
Just get started.
Number 6 is to invest in learning.
Books, courses, coaching.
Anything that can help you level up.
Those can save you so much time.
Number 7, be a good student.
Okay.
Don't just consume information, actually implement it.
Take action on what you learn.
Number 8, find a way to enjoy the process.
Yeah, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it.
And lastly, create systems for accountability.
That's huge. How do you stay on track when you don't feel like it?
Exactly. So those are some high-level principles.
Okay.
But what about some really specific tactical tips?
For someone who's just starting out,
Yeah.
well, the first thing is to start with what you have.
Don't wait for the perfect equipment.
Right. Don't get caught up in needing the best of the best.
This guy started with borrowed equipment and basic knowledge.
His first Skillshare class was filmed with a phone camera.
Yeah, and he edited it with free software.
That's so encouraging.
So you don't need a lot to get started.
Okay, so you've got your equipment now. What do you make content about?
Well, you got to figure out what your unique value proposition is.
What do you mean by that?
Like, what are you good at?
Oh, yeah.
What do you know?
Right.
What experience do you have?
You don't need to be a world-class expert.
Now you just got to be a few steps ahead of your audience.
Okay, so like what problems have you solved or what do you enjoy learning about?
Exactly. And once you have some ideas,
Yeah.
you got to experiment with different content formats.
Like what kind of formats?
Writing blog posts,
Okay.
recording podcasts,
Makes sense.
creating videos.
So try them all and see what you like.
Yeah, and see what your audience responds to.
How many pieces of content should you create in each format?
At least 5 to 10.
Okay. And consistency is so important.
How can someone actually build that into their life?
Well, you got to create a realistic publishing schedule
Okay.
and actually block out time in your calendar for content creation.
Treat it like an important meeting,
Exactly. And use accountability tools if you need to.
like that Beeminder app we talked about.
Yeah. Or even just tell a friend about your goals.
What about tracking your progress?
You mean like, how do you stay motivated when you're not seeing results?
Exactly.
Well, you should be tracking your efforts from day one.
Even if it's just a few views.
Yeah, use a simple spreadsheet to track your content and the results
Okay.
and celebrate those small wins.
Every view counts.
Exactly. And it's important to have realistic expectations.
Yeah. How long does it actually take to build an online income?
Well, in the first 3 to 6 months, you might not see much.
Oh.
In years 1 to 2, you might aim for $500 to $1,000 a month.
Oh, yeah.
Replacing a full-time income usually takes 2 to 3 years.
And those big breakthroughs,
Yeah.
they often happen in years 3 to 4.
Right, just like the guy in this story.
Knowing this timeline can help you stay motivated.
Totally. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Are there any common mistakes that beginners should avoid?
Yeah, there are a few big ones.
Like what?
Well, perfectionism is a big one.
I know, it's so easy to get stuck trying to make everything perfect.
Exactly. Aim for the 70% rule.
Get it out there.
And don't try to be everywhere at once.
Yeah, pick 1 or 2 platforms to focus on.
Right. Don't spread yourself too thin.
And don't just copy what everyone else is doing.
You got to add your own unique perspective.
Yeah, make it your own.
And don't wait too long to think about monetization.
Yeah, even if you're just starting out.
Right. Have a plan for how you're eventually going to make money.
Self-reflection is also super important.
Yeah. How do you know if you're on the right track if you don't reflect?
What are some questions people should be asking themselves?
Ask yourself, what did I learn about my audience this week?
Okay,
Which pieces of content perform the best and why?
interesting.
What am I avoiding and what's the reason for that?
Okay,
And what's one small thing I can improve next week?
so constantly be learning and iterating.
Exactly.
And one of the biggest pieces of advice in the sources
Yeah.
is to build an email list early on,
Why is that so important?
because it gives you a direct connection with your audience.
So you're not relying on the algorithms of social media.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It's your own platform.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
This has been really insightful.
Now there's this 7-day Creator Kickstart challenge in the sources.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
It's a way for people to actually implement these ideas.
Cool. What are the steps?
Day 1 is all about your knowledge inventory.
Okay.
Spend 30 minutes writing down all your skills, knowledge, and experience.
So brainstorm everything you know.
Yeah, then on day 2, you pick one platform to focus on.
Writing video or audio.
Yeah.
And then a specific platform within that.
Right, so like if you choose video, you'd pick YouTube or TikTok or whatever.
Gotcha.
On day 3, you come up with 3 beginner-friendly topics to create content about.
Okay.
On day 4, you create a simple outline for your first piece of content.
Makes sense.
On day 5, you actually create the content.
Right.
Aim for 70% quality, remember?
Don't get bogged down in perfection.
Exactly. On day 6, you edit your content and create a good headline.
Okay, getting close.
And on day 7, you publish it and share it.
Wow. So in just 7 days, you can go from idea to published content.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what are the biggest takeaways from this guy's journey?
Well, he really shows the power of taking action,
Yeah.
being consistent even when it's hard,
Embracing the challenges
investing in learning.
and enjoying the process.
It's not just about grinding it out.
You got to have fun, too.
Absolutely.
So it's clear that building a successful online business is possible.
You don't need perfect conditions.
Or to be an expert from day one.
It's about taking action, learning, and being consistent.
So as you're thinking about all this,
Yeah.
what's one small step you can take in the next 24 hours
Ooh, I like that.
to start building your own online income?
Or pursuing a passion project.
Yeah.
What mindset or strategy really stood out to you?
And how can you apply it to your life?
Maybe you could research the locus of control.
Or explore one of the platforms we talked about.
Or even just start brainstorming your own knowledge inventory.
Because every big journey
Starts with that first step.
Exactly.
Thanks for diving in with me today.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, the best way to support the podcast is to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Every bit of support helps us keep creating content that actually matters. See you in the next one.